Hey guys, Heidi here. We are going to get started here in just a second. We're going to be painting Starry Night. Can you see it? It's a giant one on the wall over there. So if you don't have paints and you want to draw this, you can by all means grab a piece of paper, draw it with me. I'm going to show you step by step. I've taught 5-year-olds this. So if I can teach 5-year-olds how to do Starry Night, I can teach you. So grab a piece of paper or paint, and then if you're watching this as maybe you see it right now but you don't have your stuff ready, you can always get it together and do it in a little bit. So I'm just going to share this. If you think anybody would benefit from this, please share on your page. That's what I'm doing right now, is sharing it to my page, and then I will show you how to paint Starry Night. So welcome. Tell me where you are from. I'd love to see where you're from. Let me share this. And I am in Texas. It's like 11 degrees this morning. It was so cold. We are not used to this. It was insane. Oh my gosh. It's getting a little better. But yeah, for those of y'all up north, I don't know how you do it. I just could not do it. Oh my gosh, it would make me crazy. Okay, so we're going to be painting Starry Night, and here's the painting behind me. You can see, and this is a really large painting. I wish I could say I painted this, but my husband found it at a garage sale for like $40. I was so happy he kind of surprised me with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I always have it in my living room. But I wanted to tell you first, you do not have to do the traditional colors, okay? I've painted it so many times that sometimes I do like really fun, funky colors. Sometimes I just do the basic. So I'm going to do kind of the basic with a little bit of twist. So get you something to drink. This was a cup given to me by my friend Rita. So hi Rita, if you're watching. Her husband makes pottery, and I just love this cup. I use it all the time, so thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be using a big brush, and basically first we're getting the outline. So if y'all have questions or I'm not saying something clearly, just pop in the comments. I'm hoping I can see the comments. If y'all want to type, yes or hi or something so I can see if they pop up. If not, I might have to go back later and answer them. So I just did a bunch of blues and whites and then just a little purple for fun. And I always recommend metallic paints if you can, okay? So I know I got started just a tad early. Oh, good. Hey, Stormy. Oh my gosh, Stormy, you can totally do this. And for those of y'all, if you're nervous and you're like, there's no way I could paint Starry Night. Hey, Beth, thanks for watching. If you're like, there's no way I could paint Starry Night, remember, it's all about breaking it down, really. That's all it is about breaking it down. So I'm going to take this painting with all these little details and I'm going to break it down. So I'm going to get it kind of sectioned off. So the first step, I just put a little bit of blue. And if you don't have paint, you can draw this, okay? So you can use a pencil and draw it. And then I'm just going to start maybe 4 to 5 fingers in, all right, on the bottom of my canvas. And then I'm just going to kind of duplicate that little, like, cypress tree from here. So for those of y'all that don't really know, the Starry Night Van Gogh is the one who painted this, and he actually painted it for memory. He was in a mental institution because of the voices in his head. A lot of times they didn't have like medicine like they do today to help people. And so he was in a mental institution, and then he had looked out his window and saw this awesome starry night in this church and this village. And he, some people say he painted it from looking at it, but it was actually from memory. And so all I did was just kind of added in these little things. It does not have to be perfect, guys. It's just like a little, here's one that looks a little bit different. Here's one that looks a little bit different, okay? It's totally fine if it doesn't look exactly like this. So just try to get kind of close, okay? So now I have my little cypress tree in there. And then here's a trick for getting the S wind. So first, before I do it, I'm gonna just take a little bit more of the blue paint. This is all just to kind of show me where I'm at. You can use any color for this, honestly. And then I'm just gonna kind of go up here. I'm gonna leave room for my moon, about a palm. And then right below my palm, I'm just gonna kind of come down almost like a roller coaster. okay? And it just keeps coming. So I've kind of split my canvas. Can y'all see that? All right, so I've split the canvas, and y'all tell me where you're from if you don't mind. I love hearing where everybody is watching from, if they're in different parts of the world or if they're in my town. I love hearing where you are from, and if you're a painter or an artist, or maybe you're learning to paint, maybe this is something new. And then you're just going to kind of go from here, just another little. And again, I'm not trying to make it exactly like Van Gogh. I mean, it'd be nice, but I'm not going to try to do exact. And sorry, you're going to see a lot of forehead because I'm coming over here to get stuff. All right, I've switched to a round brush. And now to get this beautiful S curve of the wind, I'm just going to take it and actually make an S. Okay, I'm going to turn it vertical. This is a little trick. All right, so I'm going to start here and kind of do like an S shape. And then it's almost like it hooks in. So another big S shape. Like that. So basically 2 S shapes. Okay, that one kind of hooks into it. So it gets, whenever you turn it this way, it kind of gives you the look that you want. Let's see. Oh, Georgia. Hey, Daphne. Thank y'all for watching. Okay, so it has a little hook shape here. So I just hook in here. So basically all I'm doing right now is just getting the, basically getting the outline of where I want all of my Starry Night, okay? So I have the blue here. I'm going to switch to a yellow. And this yellow, I'm just going to, I have a bunch of different colors here. Let's see, you're from, oh, hey, Marilyn. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, y'all tell me where you're from. And if you have questions about paint parties, again, this is kind of my slow, like after the Christmas craziness, this is kind of my slow time, and so I just try to like think about like what I want for my business this year, what worked last year, what didn't work, what I really want to focus on. I mean, every year, you know, whenever you look back, especially if you're running your own business, there's things I might have done this year that I'm like, it was okay, but it wasn't something that really, you know, made me excited or, you know, I was really wanting to do. You know, there's some projects that, as artists, if you're artists, you know, some projects we take that maybe we take them just because we feel like we need the money, or we're taking it to do, to try something new. And then there's these things that we end up doing, sometimes we don't even mean to, that we end up loving. For example, I painted my daughter's school's bathrooms with a ton of like affirmations and Bible verses and stuff like that. And murals is what I started with when I was 14. That's the first thing I ever really painted was murals. Giant Lion King Simba mural to be exact, and it was all out of proportion. And I was teaching myself how to paint, how to mix colors, all those things. And so the more I do murals, the more I realize that I love putting on music, which there would be music on right now if Facebook would let me. But I just love putting on music and painting. That's my favorite thing to do. So I'm going to try to start doing more of those this year. And maybe y'all can help me if y'all have places that might be interested in me traveling to do those type of murals. It's like affirmation murals for schools, for churches, for any kind of bathrooms. And I know it sounds weird, like, Heidi, why are you painting in bathrooms? But kids and people have to go to the bathroom several times a day. And we're always like inundated with so much negativity and so much comparison. And if we're put, you know, I mean, even if it's just a couple times a day, you're seeing something that's good, you know, you're amazing, or, you know, whatever kind of, you know, affirmation it is. I think it's just positive. You know, it's always positive to build up your kiddos. It's always positive to build yourself up. We can all be negative, you know. It's like a plague sometimes. It can really take us down. So anyway, so I'm going to concentrate more on that this year because it was just really awesome for me. And of course, paint parties. Paint parties still are so much fun. Okay, so all I did was I made these circles kind of where I wanted the stars. So I'm just going to put some colors in it. Again, painting is all about layering. So right now I'm just gonna put some colors in. And if you're doing this at home with me, you could have pink stars or purple stars. They don't have to be the yellowish orange. They can be anything you want. So I'm just going through, adding this. And then I'm going to add some layers here in a minute. So if you're drawing this, I've taught drawing Starry Night before, and they turn out really, really cool. So if you're drawing this, you could be using markers. You could also use Sharpies or colored pencils. Anything cool like that. So I'm just going, adding some layers here. And remember guys, look how bright those are. It doesn't have to be the exact. I think these I did in hot pink a while back. That was when I was teaching some high schoolers a few years back. I was kind of playing around with some of the colors. And I know you can do this painting because you actually, it's not that hard when you break it down. And like I said, I've taught this to 5-year-olds with success. I'm not just saying that to lie. Okay. All right, so there's some stars, some placement of the stars. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill this in before I do the dashes. Because the dashes, you can make them, like you could do dashes for days. Van Gogh obviously spent a lot of time doing a lot of that. I'm not going to spend days and days and days just because I love to paint, but I have a lot of fun stuff I want to paint this week. So I'm just going to go, again, the blue was only to outline it. So now I'm going to outline it again. This is kind of a dark, it's got black, it's got brown, some yellows even, some blues, different colors. So I'm going to take this fun plate of copper, dark browns, and I'm just going to kind of go over it. And if there's any of you out there that you're wanting to teach paint parties, or maybe you want me to come teach you how to do this for you and your friends, let me know. I am booking all the way into July now. So if you're wanting me to travel, if it's somewhere far, as long as the numbers are there, I'll travel. For example, this summer, me and Pixie again are going to do our huge Florida trip, and we have several places we're trying to line up to go on the way. So, and again, I'm just going up and down with this. I'm not going this way. This is going to kind of have a streaky look. But if you're wanting to have me come out, just message me and we can talk details. If you're wanting to have your own paint party, let's say you paint this with me, or you watch the replay and you're painting this and you're like, oh, holy crap, like I did an awesome job. I could teach this to some of my friends. Maybe you're the one they always call artsy. If you're that person that they're like, you know, you should be doing this, you're artsy, or you're always doing something fun like that, then you can set up your own paint party and teach your friends how to do that. And if you need help with that, I have tons of mentorship programs and ebooks and stuff like that. So just message me if you have a question. I don't mind answering or asking. Okay, so I'm just adding light brown now in this, and I'm covering my blue. My blue is just an outline. I don't want that to show. And then I'm going to take some of the copper. I'm probably going to go back over this copper again just because I really wanted to show up. See the difference? I'm going to pull this a little forward. See how that copper really shows? It like shines. Anytime you can use glitter, metallic paints, any of that stuff, I'm all for it. My husband is not. He hates glitter so much. I'm so sorry, Bobby. Yeah, I know he really loves us because he puts up with me and Pixie and all of our glitter. But we have like strict rules in our house. Like this whole studio right here is allowed to have glitter. But if he finds glitter anywhere else in the house, he said he'll ban us from using any glitter. So we have to be very careful. Okay, I'm going to add some black to this too. And again, I have not rinsed my brush this whole time. So a lot of times people feel like you have to be like really neat or all that good stuff. I think the messier the better. This one, they did it really, I don't know who this artist is. It looks like Duford or D-U-F-O-R-D. Whoever did this, I am obsessed with it. I love it so much. He actually put some texture on it, which if you're ever doing that, I have some texture stuff. And my daughter, she watched a YouTube video. She's obsessed with my Froggy stuff. She wants to interview Froggy so bad. And they're really good if you have kids that like making stuff or crafting. It's called My Froggy Stuff, and Pixie will watch that for hours and then come in here and make whatever she showed her. But she showed how to use, I believe it was her, how to use flour and food coloring to make a paste. So I know you can't really tell on here, but this is really textured. So if you were to feel it in person, I don't want to push on it because the whole thing will fall. It's really textured and really awesome. And I've done a couple Starry Nights like that in a smaller version. But for today's tutorial, I would need to lay it flat, and I didn't want to have it flat for this. But that is something really fun you can do. And you can do plaster of Paris. Put texture on there. Just use some gloves. Shape it how you want. Let it dry. And then just paint right on top of it. And it is so, so much fun. I love texturing paintings. Okay, so I'm just adding some black. Again, it can be, I can change it up in a little bit or add more. The good thing about acrylic is, oh, hey Carol, hey Carolee. The good thing about acrylic is whenever it dries, and it only takes about 5 minutes to dry, you can paint right on top of it. I'm gonna get a drink. Grab your tea. Cheers. And don't be shy. Ask questions if you have questions. Okay, so I'm gonna start the dashing process. There's a couple ways you can dash. I like to just get a base of dashing going because it can be a lot, and you could dash, I mean, for hours. I mean, when I teach these parties, I like to allot 3 hours for Starry Night, and this year I'll probably teach it in a smaller canvas just because people can really, that's me kind of rushing them at 3 hours. I'm not gonna paint here for 3 hours today. I'm gonna do the first half, and then I think tomorrow I'm gonna finish the second half. But I have a bunch of different blues. I have metallic blues, cobalt, navy, and I also have a blue, bluish green metallic. But first, all I'm gonna do is just take some of the cobalt and just put it on the big brush, the big flat 1-inch brush, and just the main thing you have to do here is make sure the wind and the sky has a contrast. Okay, that's the biggest thing, is you want a contrast between those. If you don't have a contrast, the wind, which normally you wouldn't see anyway, will not be able to be seen at all. I'm gonna put this just a little bit. Hopefully I won't drop that. This easel, I really need a new easel. Okay, so this is gonna be, I'm gonna make my wind kind of fatter so I have a contrast line. So I'm just taking where my wind was and thickening it up, making it a little fatter. All right, so I know where to put my lighter blue lines, okay? So this section is gonna be lighter blue. The other section is gonna be darker blue. So without washing my brush, darker blue, navy. I'm just going in with this big brush and dashing, but I'm dashing where it looks like it has action. Okay, it has to look like it's having action. So it's moving with the wind, right? So if it comes to a star, I'm going in a circle. And I would sing for y'all, but you would tune out, like go off of the Facebook page. So I'm not gonna sing. So if y'all have music, crank up your music and paint with me. But yeah, singing, I sound good in the car, I feel like. But that's just only if I'm by myself. If I'm by myself, I sound really good. But if I'm with people, it's the nerves. It's all nerves. No, all my siblings can sing and play instruments and do all of that musical stuff. And I'm always like, oh, I wish I had that. Okay, so I kind of did some darker into the lighter. So see how it can be confusing? So I need to keep my butt up here. I need to keep it up here. And you can switch to smaller brushes. Again, I'm just getting a base of color because you're going to be dashing away, dashing away, dashing away all. And if you're doing this in pencil or colored pencils right now, you can just do smaller, like different shades. If you've ever like done any drawing lessons, the value scale, there's like 11 shades on the pencil. You can use one pencil. Where's a pencil? You can use one pencil and make this 11 different shades. I've done this a lot with my students, you know, kind of like a gradation all the way from the lightest, you know, touching all the way to the darkest black just with a pencil. So if you're doing this with pencil, make these dashes darker, okay? So make these a little darker. And then whenever you get into your wind area, you're going to make it lighter. So I'm running out of room here, so I'm kind of having to blob on top. It's a good thing I am not a perfectionist. So if you're a perfectionist, I want you to breathe. Let it go, people. It's totally okay. So I'm just dashing, dashing, dashing. And let me know if you like this kind of thing. Obviously, I love painting. I paint every single week, pretty much every single day. If you like this kind of thing, I will do more. So put yes if you like to see tutorials. If you don't, you know, it's easy just to click off. I'm not holding you hostage. So, but if you do like it, let me know so I'll know if I should do things like this or not. Again, just doing this to help y'all. If some of y'all are out there and you're kind of wanting to use painting to heal, or use painting to paint with your friends, or use painting to make extra money like I do, whatever your case is, you know, if this helps, let me know. Okay, so all I did was take the same blue brush and I dipped into, oh, thank you, Patty. She says, love tutorials. Thank you. Yeah, I do too. I love seeing when other people are doing stuff. So I just used the same brush and dipped it into white. And now I'm just going to go where that wind was so I can start seeing a contrast. Again, this isn't the end of my dashes. It's not like, oh, and that's another thing. We have a rule in my house, like you cannot, nobody's allowed to judge my paintings until I have asked for their judgment. For example, Pixie and Bobby, if I'm working on something and they come home, let's see, definitely want more, maybe give us a heads up in advance. Oh, yes, Ruth. Yeah, that's the artist brain in me. I was like, oh, I need to do that. Let me do that. Yeah, I should have sent it out earlier. I'm so sorry. Oh, hey, Dad. Thanks for watching. Kay, yes, tutorials. I love them. But yeah, we have a rule in my house because Pixie and my husband in the past, you know, they might just be doing whatever they're doing, and I'm working. Before I had this art studio, I'd be working at the kitchen table. So there's no excuse. I've painted in 800 square foot houses where I had just a 4x4 area. I know it's not the best way to use the dinner table, but in my family it was. We would just eat in the living room so I could use the dinner table for all of my painting. So yeah, find you a spot. I think that's the biggest thing is finding you a dedicated spot that's always set up. So yes, if y'all looked behind me, you would think I was a train wreck because I'm in the middle of trying to do taxes, get it ready for my CPA, and I'm trying to get some other projects done. So behind me on this big 10-foot table my parents gave me, it's covered. But normally there's always one or two spaces that I can, that's exactly what we do. Yes, I am all for painting on the kitchen table. I mean, if it makes your family creative or you're getting to work through stuff, I mean, who cares, you know? I mean, we definitely see each other enough that we're not missing out by not eating and staring at each other's faces. Although I think that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's not. But we definitely are around each other so much. So my rule is, I digress, my rule is they're not allowed to give me their opinion until I've asked for it. And sometimes I don't even ask for it. If it's something I've done and I'm proud of it and it makes me happy and it's just something I created, like, I don't really care what anybody thinks. You know, it did its purpose. Oh, hey, Sherry, thanks for joining. It did its purpose. During that painting, I might have worked through some sadness. I might have worked through some you know, something I was going through. I might have just been painting for the, you know, sheer joy of just painting. I'm going to go to this dark metallic, again, not washing my brush, going straight to dark metallic to add more dark to the sky. But yeah, so it might be something that I'm just kind of wanting to work through. And I'm going to change brushes because I want a different texture, a different dash line, if that makes sense. So I'm going to the round 8 with metallic blue. Round 8 metallic blue. And this is the metallic blue. I don't want to knock over the camera. Y'all would laugh at my ghetto setup. It's like, you know, the light off of Pixar. It's like a Pixar light and a tripod camera duct taped with a selfie stick. That's how for real it is. So people that think, oh, you gotta have everything before you can start doing stuff, you really don't. You really just have to have an iPhone. But yeah, so I'll tell them, I'll say, yep, no judging my paintings until I've asked you. And then if I ask them, then they have permission to look. Because for example, right now you could look at this and go, Heidi, that looks, you know, kind of like Starry Night, but really, you know, I can do better than that, or whatever the case may be. This looks nothing like this. But you still have to put layers, tons of layers on this. Sometimes people, and I've done this, taught this before too, where we actually just painted a light blue, you know, a light blue behind it, and then went in with the colors on top. So then you wouldn't have any of this white. But I actually kind of like showing some of the white. I've probably painted this painting, no lie, over 50 times at least in the last 11 years. Just because I've taught it so much and I've had so many workshops on it that every time I do workshops, I'm teaching it. And then usually what I'll do is after I finish a workshop, I'll kind of spruce it up or add some stuff to it, and then I'll sell it. Just because it's, you know, I don't need 50 Starry Nights. But yeah, so you can just kind of, you know, if you're painting or your family's there, don't ask their opinion, because I can be sitting there, like whenever I was doing, I don't know if you can see that painting of Bobby over there. This one, the one over here, I don't want to mess. I think I've showed y'all this before. So I was doing Bobby is steampunk, and I was terrified. This is all in like acrylic, watercolor, Sharpie, I mean all kinds of mixed media. And I was making him as steampunk version. He said, Heidi, please make me steampunk. And I was like, no, I don't know. I mean, I'm okay at portraits, but I mean, I've done several, but I would rather just like paint like fun, you know, just free flow paint, not have to concentrate so much. And he's like, no, please. And so I did it, but I said, y'all cannot look. Y'all cannot judge until I'm done. Because if they come by, like Pixie, and I love her so much, but she knows the rule now. But you know, she might see the beginning of this and go, oh, Mom, that doesn't look very good yet. Or she might say something, but if I'm trying to like draw a portrait and I'm really concentrating and somebody gives me just any little bit of, man, that looks like crap. It's like it just, all that excitement I had for that project, and tell me if I'm the only one or if y'all have this too, but all that excitement in my head, in my final vision that they can't see yet, all of that excitement is like all deflated. It's just like, oh my gosh, I was so excited about this project. I had all this really great thing I was going to do with it, and now, you know, somebody already says it sucks, and I hadn't even barely started. So I don't know if you're about that, you know, with art or even other projects. I know, like starting a new fitness thing, for example. Oh, good, you understand, Patty. Good, I'm not alone. But yeah, even like a new fitness thing. You know, I'm really inspired by this girl. She's having surgery. I'll be in prayer for her. She's having surgery to have a hole in her heart fixed too. And she, me and her have been in contact. She's asking a few questions. And she's 28, and she's like this awesome yoga and fitness owner in Houston. And she's like gorgeous. And she just, you know, kind of like me, it happened, you know. But she fainted, and she has to go get the surgery next week. And when I saw her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I was like, I'm gonna try yoga. Like, I can't even touch my toes. But I've done fitness stuff before and have succeeded, and I've done fitness stuff before and have failed. like, I mean, being an artist, you know, we're kind of very non-athletic. I mean, you know, a lot of us artists, we're sitting, we're standing, we're painting, this is my athleticism right here, like with the paintbrush. So there's not a lot of like cardio happening when I'm doing massive paintings, even big murals. I mean, there is cardio with Tracy Lee Stum's street painting though. Oh my gosh, that is intense. Those ladies and gentlemen on the 3D team, I went and worked with her a few years back, and oh my gosh, it was insane. It was like 100 and something degrees. We were on pavement for several days creating a chalk art, and it was like doing twister as you paint, but you can't sit on certain areas because it would mess up where you were. It was insane. So yes, that is cardio, but for this, it's not as much. So the reason I'm saying all this is, my point is, you know, I'm going to try yoga. Well, if, you know, yesterday I went to the spiritual yoga class, and if I would have got home and my husband would have been like, you know, who are you? You know, who do you think you are? Or kind of knocked me for it. You know, it would have kind of took out that whole vision I have for my plan this year to touch my toes. You know, and instead he's like, oh, that's cool, and he asked about it. You know, so there's so much power in your words. Kay says, I totally understand, but I can get too wrapped up in what people think anyway. Yes, I used to be like that. I don't care as much anymore. I mean, I love you guys, don't get me wrong, but I don't really care as much what people think of me anymore, because I know the vision I have for what's going on in my life and my family's life. And so people are just seeing just this tiny little, you know, even if you're tuning in right now, you're just seeing a little tiny snippet of what's happening. Nobody's seeing, you know, all the stuff you're doing on the sidelines or, you know, in the background. Nobody sees any of that. So I used to get really, really hurt when people, especially when you put yourself online, you know, I mean, people might say mean things on this video. And it used to like really be like, oh my gosh, you know, oh, I think too much into what they say, but I don't anymore. So once you kind of get over that fear, it's very freeing. Let me tell you, when you don't really care if somebody's gonna like you or follow you or unfollow you, it really is freeing, because then you can just do what you want, and you can be there for the people who do care and do want to learn what you're teaching. So, okay, so I'm just adding in some of the different blue. This is a bright blue. Some of my paints I buy from Michael's, like all their Artist Loft when they have sales. I love their Artist Loft, especially their metallic paints. So metallic Artist Loft are my favorite. And then lots and lots of Walmart craft paint. I think that one's, here's my, let me show you my favorite turquoise. You probably notice it in a ton of my, oh, I don't have it for this one. It's kind of like this, but it just says turquoise. But you can get them at Walmart. And the reason I like to use the Walmart paints for a lot of my teaching, I use the Artist Loft and the Walmart, is because they're really, really fluid, and they're very easy for new people that maybe have never painted or haven't painted since 3rd grade. They're very easy for them to use. If you go try to get like golden, or, which they're awesome paints, I use them for a lot of my own personal stuff, but they're a lot thicker, they're more expensive, and they're harder to make move. They're harder to move on the thing. And this is just way easier for a beginner to go in and do this. And yes, you can do this even if you've never painted before. And I'm not saying that to just blow smoke. I'm saying that because I've taught many thousands, I'm not lying, how to do Starry Night. And almost all have never painted Starry Night. Well, actually, I think pretty much all of them, maybe a few, had never painted Starry Night before. And a lot of them had never painted at all. So just see how like adding that extra blue just starts to fill it in and make it a lot thicker. So I can go in with darker too, a darker blue here. I can go in with something else. And then I'm just gonna kind of get the base right here. Next, I'm gonna move to the bigger brush. And if y'all have questions, let me know. I can yap all day, y'all know that. If you've watched any of my stuff, you know I'm a talker. But if you have questions, let me know. So this kind of has back here, it kind of has like a yellow shade with a ton of blue on top, okay? So y'all see how it's lighter. Again, it's a contrast from this hill to this hill. So it's kind of a darker. You don't always have to do all the hills. If you're wanting to make it exactly like Van Gogh's, you know, just watch it more closely. I kind of use my artistic license, which I recommend that you do as well on all your paintings because it's just more fun that way. So I'm just getting pure yellow on a big fat brush, 1 inch flat. And the brushes you can get at Walmart or at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Any kind of brushes will do. I just use, mostly for my paint parties, I use flat brushes and round brushes. And anytime I'm doing a paint party, I always paint with the brush I'm going to use. So that way, if I'm at a paint party teaching, it's not like I had some upper hand and I could get this, but they can't because I use these secret brushes. So yeah, if you paint this and you decide you want to teach a paint party and you need my help, let me know. I have tons of stuff. I have this in an ebook form that has tons of my tips and tricks in it. And if you haven't gone to, I'm going to be announcing some stuff through my website, through my email list. If you're not on my email list yet, if you're on it, you know, because I'm an oversharer. I send out a lot of emails. So if you're on my email list, you would know. If you're not on my email list, if you go to texasartandsoul.com, texasartandsoul.com, you can, on the very first page, you can sign up to subscribe to my email list, and you get a free ebook, Mindset, Great Mindset Equals a Great Life, that I wrote probably about 3 or 4 months ago. It's a quick, it's like a PDF, it's like 3 or 4 pages. Just, I think it gives you three tips on how to have a great mindset. So if you're struggling with mindset issues, or maybe just, you know, being positive, maybe you're having like really, really hard times right now, and you just cannot be grateful for anything. You just cannot see how you could be grateful. Download that ebook. Whenever you sign up on my email list, it'll send it right to you. And then I'm going to be doing some announcements over the coming weeks. And I'm sure I'll be sharing about my California business trip coming up next week. I'm so excited. 3 full days of just learning about business and all that good stuff. Okay, so I just did kind of a yellow line here. While this is drying, I'm going to take some dashes and go into these circles. So again, it's all about layering. I'm moving back to this brush here. This is a very used brush, all the paint on it, but I believe it's the 8 round. It might be a 6 round. It's either 8 or a 6. So I'm going to go in with coppers, oranges, and yellows. But first I'm going to make that moon. Can you see that moon back there? It's just a crescent moon. Right? So I'm just going to take it with a little bit of orange. And it's very, very easy, people. All you're doing is a letter C. Just like that. Letter C. And then filling it in with another C. Letter C. And then I'm just going to fill it in. All right, so I have it filled in there, and then I'm going to dip straight into the yellow without rinsing, and I'm going to cover that. So it's a darker shade of orange. Well, it's a lighter shade of orange, but it's darker than what's behind it, the contrast. If that makes sense. I know I don't use a lot of really techie art terms. If you're here to listen about techie art terms, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong place. Okay, I'm going to use a little copper because I like to talk about blobbing and dashing and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm putting a little copper, but I don't love it. I don't love that copper, so I'm going to rinse it. Let's see, saw this at last minute, got some markers for Christmas, so grabbed a blank sheet and drawing along. Thanks for a great thing to do today. Second the share until, oh no. Marilyn, did you get surgery? I can't remember, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of wipe some of that off. Another trick with acrylic paint, and again, you can totally draw along like Marilyn's doing. You don't have to have paint. So if you're re-watching this and you're like, oh, I want to do that, but I don't want to go get everything, or I don't want to get everything out, maybe you don't have a dedicated space yet, but you are ready to be inspired, then by all means, grab paper, markers, whatever you want, pencils, you can use any of that. Oh, surgery, okay. Oh, too bad, Marilyn. Well, at least you have something kind of fun to do. Maybe it'll keep your mind. Frida Kahlo, remember when she got, well, not that we know her personally, but her story about how she drew when she was in her body cast, drew her foot and other things and kind of taught herself to draw. Okay, so I'm going to take some dashes of gold now. This gold's starting to dry up on me. It's just a really bright gold. Again, Artist Loft. Gold from Artist Loft. And if you sign up for the Michaels newsletters, you can find out when those are all on sale. Anytime those are on sale, I just go grab a ton because I always use them. I use them a lot for my personal artwork. I use those and golden fluid acrylics. I love those. And then I also love just the Walmart, the turquoise they have, the Craft Walmart turquoise. But my favorite of all paints are metallics. So if y'all have any suggestions for paints, paint brands, leave them in the comments. I'm sure everybody would be interested to hear what you use. So I'm just putting some gold, really rough, messy, inside those circles. Okay? Just kind of gold circles. And then I'm going to take a little bit more yellow and kind of just do some dashes. When I dash this time, I'm making it kind of textured almost, like where it's blobbing up, okay? So I'm just kind of adding it on there where it has almost like a little texture hint to it. It's hard to, I know it's hard to see on the camera, but trust me, if you just kind of, I know whenever I was teaching some paintings this last year, sometimes there was placements where it just needed to have like some really thick paint. So don't be scared to use a lot of paint. Sometimes people at my classes will think, oh, I don't want to waste paint. But if you're, paint is not that expensive, you know. I guess it is when you're buying as much as I have, but whenever you're just buying a little bit for a paint here or there or a party, it's not too expensive. I'd rather somebody overuse paint and have a good texture than to not and then end up, not having it how they want it to be. So as I'm kind of finishing up a little bit on this, if anybody's out there and you are needing help with teaching paint parties, message me. I have tons of resources. I have a lot of free videos too on YouTube. And then I also have, my ebooks and my mentorship program, which I have a huge special on right now. Really, really great deal. It's $400 on my website, and I'm selling it for this course for the modules for $87. So if you're interested, oh, hey, Jennifer. Hey, guys. Hey, April. If you're interested, message me, because $87, again, after I go to that business meeting, I don't know, they might instruct me to change that price, because it's a little, definitely low. It's valued way more than that. So if you're interested in that, message me, or you can go to my website and look right now. You'll see the 400 one, but if you message me, I can give you a link for the 87 one. And then if anybody has suggestions on my new little business venture, oh, yes, Mom. There's the moon. Thanks for painting with me. Oh, yeah, you were wanting to do this one. Did you get out your stuff so that you have it? And it's just the letter C and then a C inside of that. And then I just fill it all in with orange. Yeah, and it might help too, because I know it's probably hard for you to see mine back there. If you find like a screenshot of Starry Night too, so you could have it like right beside you. So I'm adding dark blue here. So yeah, so message me. And then if anybody has any schools out there that you may be interested in me traveling to. Oh, good. Oh my gosh, Daphne, that's so good to hear. Okay, so Jennifer, my new business venture. Okay, so I've been recommending that book, Called to Create. Called to Create, if you have not read it yet, I'm still reading it, but it is so good. It's all about kind of like co-creating with God, and it's all about like asking, God for, what you should be doing or how you can use your skills, because we all have skills that we can use that we can help others with, and I obviously feel like painting is what, God has brought into my life. I'm not saying I'm the best painter out there. Oh, great. Thanks, Patty. Yeah, and you can message me too, and I'll send you a link. But yeah, so I'm not saying, I've never claimed to be the best painter, but I feel like God has always given me art to use, and ways to use it, and murals and paintings and just helping others. I feel like, when I'm in a paint party, it's like I'm in my happy pit. I'm in my happy zone. That's where I just love. And when I'm painting murals, I'm in my happy zone. So when I painted the school and I painted all those like positive affirmations and all those really cool scriptures and just, painting stuff on the school walls in a bathroom where it's like people are, going there several times a day, and maybe they don't realize that they're reading "You're Amazing" or a verse that means something to them, or whatever. They might have like, a hard day that day, and then they go into the bathroom stall and there's a painting that, brings them up for that moment. Or maybe it's just like their happy place they can go and, everybody has to go to the bathroom. Why not? In our today's world where everything is so comparison and can be so negative and so much craziness happening, why not fill up our students or our teachers or people in the hospital or wherever they're at, if they're going to the bathroom 2 or 3 times a day and they can see, positive things about them and remind them, everybody's worthy. And sometimes we can go through our daily life and just forget that. So my new business venture, I've been praying a lot, reading that book and praying a lot for God to kind of lead me. And this year, what my big focuses are. Because as an artist, and if you're an artist, we chase the shiny object. We get very, oh, this looks fun. Oh, let me try this. Or, oh, and then I get very, it's hard. It's like squirrel. It's sometimes really hard to stay focused. And if you're an artist, you understand. So as I've been praying, and I've been praying on this for about 3 weeks, God keeps leading me to happiness murals. And he keeps kind of putting these people in my head to contact. And if you're not, spiritual, you might think I'm kind of a weirdo right now, but I'll just be like taking a shower or something, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. Or I'll be doing something else or going for a walk, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I should email this person or ask, their advice on this. And so what I'm hoping this year is that I get more opportunities to go paint at schools or churches, murals. Because like I said, that's where it all started for me. Not that I'm stopping my paint party business. I love that. And I am doing that even bigger and better this year. Not that I'm stopping that at all. That's still continuing. I'm actually traveling a lot more for that this year, which is going to be really fun. So if you're in different locations and you want me to come, even out of state, as long as the numbers are there, I will travel and bring all of the stuff and teach a party at your church or wherever. But I want to really see where this happiness murals takes me, and just see, maybe it can be part of a missionary type thing. I don't know. I just have like all these visions for it, and I feel like maybe if I put it out there to y'all might have some advice for me. Again, it's that book Called to Create is so wonderful. I cannot stress enough. I'm going to go to white paint, and I'm going to go on top of some of this. I cannot stress enough just the way it's making me look at my business and the way it's making me kind of be calmer about my business, you know, like a lot of times, you know, yes, what I do is so fun and so exciting, and for me, because I'm an artist and this is what I love to do, but it can also, when you're paying your bills with it, you know, this isn't like my hobby job and all the money I stash in a big pile and just throw it up in the air and, you know, oh, this isn't it. You know, I pay bills with it. You know, it's my bill paying money. It's my, you know, family's, you know, car payments, our house payment. It's all those things. So as you run your own business, sometimes, yes, even though it's something really fun that you're doing, if you're trying to pay your bills with it, it can bring stress, like anything, you know. And so this year, I just really want to focus on, you know, God's always going to provide the money. You know, I've seen it time and time again, even when we had bankruptcy, even when we went through all of that craziness. You know, I've seen it time and time again where we've lost everything, and not only did we gain way more, but, you know, it's led us on a path that I would have never taken if I wouldn't have gone that way. So this year I'm really trying to just, you know, follow more what I think God's calling me to do with my art and how it can maybe change more people and help more people, and the money will come. So if that makes sense to any of y'all, I don't know if I'm rambling and painting. I'm going to add a little bit of light. I'm actually going to go a little off here and do this turquoise-ish green. It's like a seafoam green with a little bit of white. And this is another good thing. Oh, called to create. Called to create. Be true back. Be true back. What does that mean, Marilyn? It might have been something during what I was talking about. My brain got. Okay, so I'm going to mix a little bit of this with white and then have a drink of tea. Cheers again. And for those of y'all that watched my word of the year, it was, I'm going to add a little bit of green into here. Not a lot, but just a little. It's all about adventure. And so not only do I want, you know, to have this art, oh yes, Cynthia, it'll be on replay. Yeah, you can watch it again. Not only do I want to, you know, this year do art and do some fun traveling with my art, but just have it as an adventure. Like last year, there was a really cool workshop I wanted to attend in northern Florida, and a friend of mine helped me get a paint party scheduled, so the whole trip was paid for. So sometimes it's not about just, oh yeah, paying my bills, that, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I really want that opportunity, you know, let me get it paid for, and then I can have that opportunity. So I'm looking for a lot of those cool opportunities this year, possibly some kind of cool stuff me and Pixie and Bobby can do. So I'm just adding a little bit of this turquoise. I'm not sure if I love that turquoise yet. I might go over that. In a little bit. Let me see what time it is. Oh, that didn't tell me. Does anybody know what time it is? Can y'all put the time down? I have a meeting here in a minute. I just want to make sure. And if I don't finish, which I'm not going to, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to finish it tomorrow. So if some of y'all are watching this and you want to get caught up and then finish it with me tomorrow, you can. So I'm just kind of getting the first half done. Had to leave for a minute, spell check change from right back to oh, I was like, I'm not sure I understand that, but maybe she's saying something. Oh, 12:21. Okay, yes, I have a few more minutes. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little bit more in the stars and then a little bit of the white here, and then tomorrow I will finish the bottom half. I have to look at my schedule to see what time I can do it. Again, I'm starting that yoga, so I got to make sure I'm at my yoga class. So I'm using white with a little bit of blue. Yeah, it's pretty sad right now. I cannot even touch my toes. But they say it gets better if you keep doing it. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of that blue. And again, you can dash and dash and dash and dash and dash and dash and dash till you're sick if you wanted to. There's a greenish metallic I have here that is greenish blue. It's actually called Artist Loft Metallic Cobalt Blue. cobalt. I don't know how to say it. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So I'm going to add some of that in. I like that. I like that better than the other, than that lighter blue. So you can see I have all kinds of blues going on. I'm just kind of playing around with it. So you can kind of have fun with it and do it however you want. And then I'm going to add some details, some more, a few white lines. They don't have too many. They have more in the wind part. He has more in the wind part that you could see here, some more pure white, and some, actually he has it even a little bluer. So I'm going to take blue with some white. So I'm mixing like a bright blue from Walmart. It's just called bright blue, nothing secret, with some white. And then I'm going to go over this to make it a little bit darker. See the difference already? So again, acrylic paint's all about layers. So if you do a painting you hate, you can paint right on top of it and do something else. I've done that many times. It happens. Especially when you're learning. If you're learning and you've never painted Starry Night before, like really give yourself a break, you know? There's times when I try something and I'm like, that really sucks. But then I'm like, have I ever done it before? You know, like, why does this day and age feel like we have to accomplish something the first time we try it, okay? We don't. I think so many times we put so much pressure on ourselves. And I think maybe as I've gotten older, I'm realizing that more. Maybe that's why I'm like, yeah, I have a year-long yoga path of touching my toes. I'm not giving myself, 2 classes to make myself, be able to touch my toes. And so I think, who knows where I'll be at the end of this year if I keep up with it. So maybe y'all ask me in a few months, make me accountable that I stick with my yoga class. And for a person like me, it's so funny, if y'all have seen that movie, The Greatest Showman, have y'all seen that, The Greatest Showman? If you haven't, please go see it. Oh my gosh. I'm just adding a little bit of dark to kind of make this mesh into here. The Greatest Showman, there's one of the first songs, it talks about a million dreams and how, he can't sleep because there's a picture in a million dreams in his head. And it's funny because like 3 nights before we had saw it, I had mentioned that to my husband. I was like, I could not sleep at all. Like, I just have so many things in my head going on and I can't stop thinking. And he looked at me at the end of that little song and goes, oh my gosh, it's just like you, Heidi. And so I'm hoping tomorrow there's supposed to be like a meditation afterwards, which I have never done meditation. I'm hoping that will help calm this brain squirrel down. Like I'm just all over the place sometimes with all the things that I get excited about and want to do, and I think sometimes we just need to stop and go, okay, what's our path for this year? What can we realistically accomplish in 1 year? And then don't look at it and be like, overwhelmed by it and then not even try. I know sometimes people can, even like a weight loss goal, they can go, oh, I've tried before, or it's not going to work this time, so why even try? Don't do that to yourself, It takes time to make progress, and track it. Oh my gosh, I've been tracking different sales and different things I'm doing with my company and how I want it to look, and I had these huge goals for 2017. And I reached them the day before 2018. And wow, I was like celebrating because I was freaking out, like, oh my gosh, if I don't hit this goal, like, this is gonna suck, because I've really been working hard towards it for 5 months to reach a certain goal. And but the reason I knew I reached it is I tracked it every single time it was written down. So same thing yesterday when I was doing that little vegan thing. I track what I eat every single time. I'm tracking when I'm going to the gym, and I know sometimes that can sound like, oh, so cumbersome, but when you're in like a time where you're like, oh, nothing's working, or this really sucks, or whatever the case may be, if you just look back, I mean, if I just glance on my office door and see that poster board, it takes all those fears and all that self-doubt away in an instant. Because I'm like, no, wait, I am doing it. No, it's right here. I'm doing it. You know, and so the same thing with anything, with this yoga class, with whatever you're trying to accomplish, with this Starry Night, you can track it, and then, my voice got high, track. You can track it, and then know where you're at, and then not put yourself down. You know, I could easily go into fear, self-doubt, oh, it's not working, but I have proof the last 5 months that not only did it work, I passed my goal. So let's set the next 5 months up for success. But I need to track it. And it takes a little time, and it doesn't sound all glamorous. But it really doesn't take that much if you just get a notebook paper out and make a note here. Okay, so this right here, I'm going to go in with a little bit of darker to kind of show where it's a little darker here. Let me go right here so you can see. A little darker here, and then I'm going to have to go here in just a second. And then a little darker here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I will have this replay up. So anybody who is watching this and you want to catch back up and then watch me tomorrow do the bottom half, I will show y'all the bottom half tomorrow. I'll probably send out an email with the time once I go check my calendar and figure out when I can squeeze it in, because I've got that meditation thing I got to go try, and I'll let y'all know if it was good or not. So it might be in the morning before it, or it might be in the afternoon after. So go to my website, texasartandsoul.com, and register to get my emails. You can always unsubscribe. I don't hold you hostage, but I do send a lot of emails. I'm not going to lie. I send emails about my family, about art stuff like this, specials going on. And if you do subscribe, you get a free ebook that I wrote a few months back, actually. Great mindset equals great life. So yeah, so make sure, oh, thank you, Marilyn. So make sure that you are on my list, and then I'll also send out what time I'm going to do this tomorrow. So you can catch up, and again, it's all about layering, it's all about adding. So we're going to add a ton of layers to this, but if you want to get set up to where this is, and then tomorrow I will teach you the bottom half, and then you'll have Starry Night. So, and if you put it in a black frame or even a gold frame, if you go to Michael's, oh, thank you, Mom, for putting the website. If you, yeah, check out my website too. If you have any advice for my happiness murals or places you want me to come visit for paint parties, again, I travel all over the country. I would love to travel somewhere like France, so if you're out there watching, I would love to come see you. Please message me, because sometimes I get people from different parts of the world. But yeah, so go to my website, register. If you're interested in any of the paint party stuff, I have a lot of it on my website under the shop, but I also have a special deal, a special code for the modules. If you're interested in my 8-module boot camp, send me a message and I'll send you that special link. It's not on my website. If you go to my website, it's $400. So the other one is $87. So send me a message and I'll send you that special link so you can check it out. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to painting with y'all tomorrow. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.